I got broads in Atlanta, just to throw me in the family. Credit cards and the scammers, hitting the licks in the band. Legacies.
Elephone S8 Review Budget Android Phone You Need to Know. The Elephone S8 is a budget device, and because of this you won't see things like Qualcomm's top-tier processors or Samsung's best display panels inside of it. But it does still come with some pretty good hardware by comparison. The Elephone S8 is running with a MediaTek Helio X25 deca-core processor, paired with 4GB of RAM and 64GB of internal storage. The RAM and storage are by no means pushing the envelope in terms of cutting-edge specs, but they're plenty enough for a device of this caliber. It's the X25 CPU that makes this device a little more interesting, as it's MediaTek's most powerful so far. Beyond the CPU, RAM, and storage, the S8 is equipped with a 6-inch display with a resolution of 2560 x 1440. This might not be a Super AMOLED panel, but after just a little less than a week of using it, it's clear that this is a really nice display, but we'll get into that more a little bit later. The design is one of the more noticeable and standout parts of the S8, though it's clear that there is some inspiration here from other devices. That said, it's not so much that borders on being nearly identical to those devices in terms of design. We're, of course, talking about the display mostly, which features a nearly bezel-free screen on the top and sides, with a little bit of a bezel on the bottom to make room for the fingerprint sensor/home button, and the front-facing camera. Elephone isn't the only company to incorporate this design after Xiaomi introduced the world to the original Mi Mix, and it won't be the last. And while the S8 does not look as sleek as the Mi Mix due to the larger bottom bezel, it still looks pretty nice thanks to the big screen and the screen's resolution. The sound quality is not the most important part to all users, but if you're someone who enjoys games or movies a lot on their phones, then you'll want the audio to be at least decent, and the Elephone doesn't disappoint too much in this area. That said, it does only have one speaker, and that does hurt things just a little. While the audio quality is okay, it's not as good as I was hoping, but it's certainly not terrible. One speaker is pretty standard for a lot of phones these days, and while the audio quality of the device isn't the best WEVE ever listened to, it is decent in thoughts considering the phone comes in at a fair amount under $300. You might not be impressed if you're an audiophile, but the average user shouldn't have any complaints here. Despite having a few pitfalls, the Elephone S8 is one of the best phones from a Chinese brand that I have personally ever used. While it doesn't have a lot of the additional features and the software that you'll find in phones that use a heavily skinned user interface like that from Xiaomi, Meizu, Samsung, LG or others, it has a lot going for it, like the display size and resolution. And it lasts a while on a single charge, so this could easily be someone's day-to-day phone without having to worry about charging it until they go to bed. Should you buy the Elephone S8? Not if you're looking for something to use as a main phone in the US. If you're looking for a travel phone though, or a phone to be used as a daily driver in another country where the Elephone S8 can be used with LTE networks, then absolutely. The S8's only real drawback for me was that it isn't designed for use with the networks here in the US, which means I could never really use it as a daily device. Just about everything else though is fantastic, and it really can't be stressed enough how good the screen is, especially at the cost that Elephone is charging for this phone. If you need a phone for international use, where the LTE networks will be supported, you really can't go wrong here.